Great evening, great evening, great evening. This is Pastor Irma Berry Scott with the Truth Uncensored uh, podcast on tonight. I almost forgot what I was on. We are with the Truth Uncensored podcast. It is the second Wednesday in August. And we are back. We had a little hiatus for the summer, unintentionally, but we had a little time out on this summer. But we are back. We are back, along with Bishop Keith Cox and Elder Sherrie Justiano. We are missing tonight Dr. Shawn McKinney. He is in Atlanta in a conference. He's unable to be with us tonight, but we got the other gang here, and we are ready to give you the truth in love. Come on,
Yeah.
Elder Sherrie, and greet the saints on tonight.
Hello, everybody. So glad that you're joining us. I hope that you get something out of the podcast tonight. And we drop some good nuggets and some good advice all around. We welcome you to the Truth Uncensored.
All right, Bishop Cox.
God bless you, everyone. We are excited about tonight's broadcast, and it's my prayer. It is all of our prayers that you be blessed through this broadcast. Share it tonight with some child, some teacher, someone that has an interest in what we're talking about tonight. And I guarantee you the Lord will bless them.
Absolutely, absolutely. We welcome all of you who are coming on in. God bless you, Deacon Diana's. Good to see you on this evening. And all of you who are coming on in, we welcome you to the Truth Uncensored on tonight. Tonight, we do have a topic. I'm sure it's probably a little controversial. It may be, but it's all right. We're going to talk a little bit on tonight. All right. Our topic tonight is back to school. Lord have mercy. Back to school. Uh, I'm sure your students now are going back to school through college or to elementary school, high school, whatever it may be. It is back to school time, getting back to our education again. God bless you, Teresa Howell. Good to see you on today. All right. So we're going to talk about back to school, and we're going to give some truths tonight. Some of us still got our head in the sand and think our little monsters are little angels. Lord have mercy. But we're going to talk about school dilemmas on tonight. I'm sure everybody is excited about the new year, new school year. Our teachers, our administrators are getting ready, the staff, cafeteria, bus drivers, janitorial, all of the staff is getting ready. Our athletics are getting ready to get on the roll. Some of it has already started. And of course, our parents getting ready to go back to school. All right. So now the summer break is over. Playtime is over. And now it's time to get back on the focus. It's time to get back to studying and the hard work. I even got to get back. I'm studying for my master's degree. So I'm getting ready to go back as well. So we all got to buckle down. We can't just play around any longer. All right. So we're going to talk tonight about back to school. And again, God bless all of you all who are coming on in. We ask that you talk back to us. Good to see you, Annie Barrow. Good to see you on this evening. Talk to us in the chat. Tell us about your back to school experience with your children, grandchildren, or whoever it may be. All right. So let's start this conversation off on today. Uh, um, are our students really prepared to go back to school? Have we done the work to prepare them to get back into the classroom? Y'all talk back to me, Sherrie. Talk to me.
Well, I come from two different perspectives. So I'm gonna come from the parents' perspective tonight. I have two children that are still in school. I have a fourth grader and I have an 11th grader. And so they're in two different seasons of their life. So on one side, I'm focused on my fourth grader. Um, is he learning the basics? Is he confident in what he's doing? I can be transparent. My child struggles with reading. And one of the things that is hard for him, and he gets very frustrated about, is that he is not reading at a proficient level. But as a parent as well, I struggle with assisting him because I learned how to read years ago. And so when I'm trying to pronounce stuff and join syllables together, it's a little weird. So there's a struggle there. And then when I look at my 11th grader, I'm not so much thinking just only is he prepared for school. I'm thinking for the next, is he ready for college? Is he ready to get a job? Is he ready? Is he maturing enough where he's able um, to do the work that's needed when he gets out of school. So we're in that stage of trying to figure things out for him on what is his actual next steps, even though he is an 11th grader. Um, I also think that if they are they really um, prepared this year? Yes, they are. But there is some hesitancy. Like last year, I know for my children, attendance was a big issue. They kept getting sick over and over and over again. And teachers will clearly say if they're not here, they're not learning. And that's true. It puts them further behind. So as a parent, um, trying to get them better prepared and to keep their immune systems up so they're not missing so much school. But are they prepared? They're prepared as much as I can prepare them for school.
Okay. All right. Come on, Bishop. Are we really preparing our children for school? Are we preparing them for the classroom?
I I think that's a question that can be best answered by looking at the child that you're dealing with. There's not one particular answer that you can give to this question because, like in my case, I deal with elementary kids, and in order for you to determine if they are prepared, you have to look at what they're doing as far as progress. And if they're not progressing, then we can't say they are prepared. Or maybe if they're not progressing, why is it? So there are a lot of different variables because the smaller the kid is, sometimes it's a little harder to determine what issues may be there, what issues may not be there. Sometimes, there's peer pressure, there's behavior issues, there's things going on at home, and it can be distracting to a little small mind. A little 6 and 8 year old kid cannot always handle what they see and what they're dealing with. And it's hard to get them prepared when we haven't dealt with the things that they're surrounded by. You have to deal with those things. Sometimes it's embarrassing. Sometimes it hurts. Sometimes you don't want to go to the teacher or to the school to talk about it because it will embarrass you. Sometimes I've seen kids come to school and it's not that they're dumb, it's that they're hungry. They haven't had breakfast. They didn't get anything for dinner. So, and here they are at school, and I've had someone ask me, "Hey, can I have some chips?" And I'm like, if they sell them in the cafeteria, you can, but I'm not a vending machine. They're hungry. And you have to be able to answer a lot of other questions about the kid before you can determine if they're prepared for school. And then, we don't even want to get about the parents, because some parents just make sure that they have a roof over their head and that they get on the bus. And that's it. So they're not helping them. They're not investing in them. They're not taking the time to come to, I think they still call them PTA meetings. I don't want to date myself too much, but they don't come out to the school and see what's going on. The teacher can send reports all day and all night, but if you don't come to the school to see what's going on, you have not prepared your child for success. You're leaving them to die and to just fall out where they are. And it is sad that we have to say that. Or is your child prepared? When if you have this child, you should love that child enough to make sure that child is successful in whatever they're doing at the school. I'm going to move on because I feel like a talk coming on me. So go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, you're leading us to our second theme. We're talking about getting back to school on tonight. Good to see you, Christy Leak. We're talking about going back to school, and I think uh, uh, heavily that there's a parents have a big responsibility to support their children's education journey. When we talk about being prepared, we think school is just from August to May or whenever they get out. But the summer is just as important as the rest of the year is. That break, yes, we want to give our children a break, but yet we still got to keep them in the mode of learning. Um, uh, we expect the teacher to do it all, but parents have a responsibility to support. Uh, uh, are your children getting enough sleep at night? Um, are we providing them a good environment to do homework? What's the parents' responsibility in all of this? I know our children, everybody's home is not the same, but we're here to tell the truth tonight. Parents have to have a responsibility to their children. Our teachers and educators cannot do it all. They got to have the support. Y'all gonna bail me out?
No, you're not. You're not in a hole.
You're not you're not in the hole. And coming from, again, a parent who's actively dealing with two different school ages, from a parent's point, and again, another transparent thing, I can tell you every mistake that I made last year, from being just tired. By the time I get home, I'm exhausted. I've been putting out fires all day. I was When you gave us a topic, I was actually contemplating on, like, when I was young and when I was a little girl. I remember up until maybe the second grade, my parents helping me, and then after that, I was on my own. Like, there was no assistance. But the difference between then and now, I didn't have all the distractions that they have now.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times as parents, we do something called, okay, well, they probably got an app for this, and we give them a tablet, we give them a Chromebook, we give them something like that, and we depend on the electronic to kind of help counteract what we're not doing hands on. And the hindrances in that is they're already going downhill from getting so much screen time, but then they veer off to something else, and they not even doing what you asked them to do. They doing something else. So from a parent standpoint of view, if you can identify what your weak points are, then you can actually do more. You can do more good the next year. Like, for instance, I didn't pay attention as much to when they were sending out emails. Thank God I got a sister who always makes sure I keep updated with, hey, did you sign them up for this? Did you sign them up for that? I missed every deadline. And to be honest, my child should have probably been in the summer reading program, but I missed the deadline because I wasn't attentive. Um, I also was honest with his teacher this year. Like when we fill out our, is there anything that we need to know about your child? I was very honest with his teacher. I struggle with helping him to read. I'm very articulate. I read very well, but trying to teach somebody who is in the fourth grade has improved he's improved a lot, but he still can't pronounce syllables. Um, when it gets up to a certain amount of letters to be able to formulate the word all together, that's hard when you're not a teacher. It's hard to do that. And I mean, I've tried all kinds of stuff. I have cried trying to help him and help even the other children read. Um, but those are one of like the struggles. But a lot of it came from me just being extremely exhausted. Parents are dealing with a lot more now and a lot of stuff coming at them. So trying to make sure that we just don't carve out the time for work. We don't carve out the time for everything else, but we make sure that we carve out the time for our children.
Mm-hmm. I think that I like what you said because it just made me go back 50 some years to how I was raised and what happened because my mother was the authoritarian figure in the home. And I mean, me and my brothers, when it came to school, got away with nothing. And she knew everybody's struggle. I didn't like math. My other two brothers, they didn't like to read. So guess what? Every Friday morning before we got on the bus, after we had a hot breakfast, they had to spell 20 words and they had to pronounce them. And they had to pronounce them clearly, or there were possible consequences. We'll just say it like that. And that's just how we grew up.
Mm-hmm.
And time was made. She worked a full-time job, and my stepfather worked a full-time job. They would get up, they would cook a hot breakfast, they made sure we did homework, they would put us outside to get on the bus. When you got off the bus, you were told, come in the house, do not turn on this TV, sit down and get your homework out. When I come through the door, we're going to go over math, we're going to go over science. I mean, this was daily. This
Mm-hmm.
was daily. And if there was a reason that you didn't know something, then my mother wanted to know why. Tell me, why is it that you don't know this? Or why is it you can't spell these words? Why is it you can't do this math? Because her reasoning was, I'm putting time into this and I have an expectation for you to learn and grow. And that's the problem we're having now, not with everybody. And I hope we don't come across like that, but there are too many kids where the guardians, have to say guardians because there are a lot of them don't have parents, that have guardians that are not investing into the kids. They're scared to say, this is what you need to do and this is how you do it. I'm not seeing any of that. And it may be going on. And I'm sure it's going on somewhere, but it's hard. It's hard to try to help the kids when you know they're not getting any help when they go home. Nothing. And if you're planning and missing some things, that's still a positive because at least you're concerned enough to say, hey, I got something I need to do. I may have missed it, so let me go catch up. A lot of the kids don't even have that. And I don't know what we can do or say to make that any better. But our kids are missing out because there's no parental involvement. It's not there. I'm gonna say one more thing. I have a friend who's a teacher, and they give out gift cards and candy and food and stuff. And he says it is amazing how the parents are reaching and grabbing for that type of thing. But when he sends something home about math or English, he can't get a response. That doesn't look good. And there are people on the outside that see that. We're not the only ones that see it, but there are people on the outside, they see that, And so it makes them have a certain opinion about some of our kids. I hope I'm dancing around what I really want to say, but it's not looking good for our kids when there's no parental involvement. Go ahead, Irma. I don't know what's wrong with me tonight. Go ahead.
That's fine, because you're in
Good.
the school system. For those who don't know, Bishop Cox is substituting. Has long-term substituting assignments. So he's in the school system. I don't know if Teresa Howell is still on. She's an administrator in the school system in Wake County as well. But these things are real issues that we as a community have to deal with. We can't put it all on the school system. We have to work as parents. We have to come together as a community, as a church, whatever. We got to get the village back. We've lost the village, and our children are suffering. I saw a Facebook post of a teacher, a young man who's a teacher in the high school, and the comprehension of the students uh, who are about to graduate, who can't put sentences together, who can't comprehend paragraphs to be able to describe things. He was crying because of the lack of ability of our children. It's not all our children's fault. We have to take responsibility. Sherrie threw out a very valid point that our parents are exhausted. They're trying to work and provide. The economy is not helping us. So now they got to work 2 or 3 jobs just to pay a rent fee. Because it's to put food on the table. They are exhausted. We have to have some kind of assistance for our parents so our children don't fall through the cracks.
Right.
I,
Uh-huh.
I think also that we also have to realize that our children are living in a different time and space. What worked in the 90s, what worked in the 80s, what worked in the years before that will not work for the day. So how do we take the technology that we have and use it for good and be able to utilize the technology plus the parent and the child so that we keep their attention, we make it we give the parent some assistance with taking everything that they actually utilize today to learn, to teach them and to educate them and to put it where they actually progress. I have tried teaching my son, the fourth grader, teaching my son several times how to tie his shoes. His 19-year-old sister has taught him. His 17-year-old brother has taught him. His daddy has taught him. He did not catch it from any of us. You want to know how he learned how to tie his shoes? And he just learned a month ago. He sat down and he started watching YouTube videos. And he watched them over and over until it taught him how to tie his shoes. Because we are quick to say, you ain't getting it from us. Let's go to YouTube University. He actually learned it by watching somebody on YouTube and playing the video over and over and over again. But we actually tried, each and every last one of us, and he couldn't grasp it. And he learned it by sitting there on his own, watching a YouTube video play over and over again. So how do we
Because
use, I'm
I'm sorry.
sorry, how do we use the current technology that we have? Because some of the stuff he listened to, y'all, that sound like wah, 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 wah. But that's what grabs his attention, where he can navigate and learn certain things. So how do we use that for our benefit instead of just letting them watch the mindless stuff that's with the electronics?
Yeah, because that's how our children grew up with technology. We grew up with sticks and balls.
Mhm.
Our children are growing up with technology, so we got to make that technology work for them.
Mhm.
um, um, the video games, instead of playing Fortnite, find some educational video games that they can learn something, that they can absorb in their minds. Uh, um, y'all ain't talking back
Yeah.
to any of us tonight. Ain't nothing in the comments. Um, but we got to do something that will grab our children's attention to make school interesting so they can learn and grow. And at the end, when it's time for them to graduate, they can comprehend sentences, they can comprehend a book, they can comprehend thought. We got to do something. We got to come out of our mindset of how we grew up. This
Mhm.
is a whole different lifestyle now. Our lifestyle back then was totally different. So we got to think now about our parents' lifestyle. You know, a lot of times a mama was at stayed home, or a grandmother was at home to help raise. That day is over. Uh, um, Now we don't have that parental or that family member that can keep our children. They're going to the Y. They're going to the Boys and Girls Club. So we got to use some other methods to keep our children um, um, uh, looking forward to education.
The other
Does
thing
that
we have
make
to
sense?
the other thing we have to do though is make sure, I know I have to, I'm always evaluating myself, and I have some friends is this way as well. We have to get out of our own mindset of, okay, I taught myself how to do it. Okay, I work myself through it. Your child is completely different from you. And so a lot of times I expected my children just to pick up on stuff because I was I had to grow up fast. And so I picked up on everything by myself. And I expected them to do the same thing, but they also didn't have the environment, the surroundings that I did. They literally had everything. Everything, the basic necessities they've never had to be without or want for anything. So all of the electronics that we didn't have, like I had to literally make do and teach myself. So my mindset was, you can do this, figure it out. But they needed more guidance because they didn't have that backing to like make them really, really strong, really, really quick. It just wasn't there. And so a lot of people from my generation that raise their kids, we see the unfortunately the symptoms of them never having to struggle for anything. And a lot of that is not them able to compute stuff because we've always just given it to them.
We see why the government is trying to do away with critical thinking.
Hmm.
They trying to do the thinking for you. That's why the news look like it looks. They tell you how to think, tell you how to feel, tell you all kinds of things because they're trying to eliminate your critical thinking, being able to think through things on your own. A lot of times I'm looking at people and talking to people, and we say, "Oh, that's a done deal. We know how to do that. We can figure that out." But because we work with a generation that everything is given to them, we have thought for them. They ain't gonna grow up like we grew up. They
Hmm.
now they don't have the critical thinking that we had to use. I told you we grew up on sticks and balls, so we had to use our imagination for a whole lot of stuff. Now they got technology that tells them everything. And now with AI, they really don't have to think.
They don't have to
Um,
think at all.
they just tell AI what to do, and there's the answer. There's the answer they want you to know.
Mm-hmm.
Let me put it
Uh-huh.
that way. They put compute things the way they want you to think. So now our children don't have that resource of critical thinking. Come on, Bishop Cox. Seem like you want to jump in.
I was just listening because it's true. They don't have that understanding of how to do something on their own, just to come up with the idea, how to make it happen. They don't understand what it is to do something, make a mess of it, and start over and accomplish. They're not given that. And I think a lot of times it's not their fault, but I think it's our fault
Mm-hmm.
because we've had to do it. We have not taken the time to extract the good from that and pass that on. We just say, well, I had to do it, you do it.
Mm-hmm.
But you didn't consider that the frustration that you had. Some kids aren't able to handle that. So what we should do is that if we've had to do things on our own, extract the good from that process and teach that to the next generation for them to understand how to do the same thing, maybe not be as stressed or as put out as we used to feel about some things, but understand you can do this on your own. I often tell my niece, my I tell my niece to tell her daughter, my great niece, I said, look, she needs to find out how to do something with her hands. She needs to know how to do something with her hands because when she gets older, she's not going to look as good. She's not going to be all that pretty, all that long hair. It may go out of style, because they're buying it now. But you got to learn how to do some things on your own. Put your hands to the plow. Teach her how to do so. I was trying to teach her how to play. I said, just learn to, play a little bit because the day may come where you're not going to be somewhere where there's a computer, or you're not going to be in a nice place. But if you have both your hands, you can sit down and play and make a little music. That's not difficult. And if you do find it to be difficult, take it on and learn what it is to make a mistake and grow from it and become something great. Learn how to do that. We have not passed that aspect of learning on to the next generation about failure and success. We
Mm-hmm.
just give them, hey, this is it. This is success. But it doesn't have any good value until you have overcome failure and now you are successful.
Absolutely.
Amen.
We're so busy trying to give our children everything
Everything.
instead of allowing them to earn it on their own. I
Mm-hmm.
hope I'm making sense with that.
Mm-hmm.
We
Yeah.
gonna give them when a 3-year-old gets a iPad for Christmas. To me, that's just Pastor Irma. That's ridiculous because they have not done anything to earn. Those things are expensive. So
Mm-hmm.
those kind of things should be earned. Our children don't know how to earn, to work for things, to use their creativity in their minds, how to do certain things. We just so busy giving them and handing them stuff. They don't know the value. Lord have mercy. The value of education, the value of earning money to buy a car, the value of earning money to buy that game board or whatever they do now. Uh, they don't know the value of it. Um, so we're handing them too much. So when
Mm-hmm.
they get in the classroom, guess what they expect of the teacher?
To
Mm-hmm.
hand them everything. They don't put
Absolutely.
no effort into any of
Nothing.
it. Nothing.
Absolutely. Because we have given them the entitlement,
Mm-hmm.
the entitlement mentality that I'm entitled to get this. I'm entitled for you to give me the answers to the test. I'm entitled for you to give me everything. I don't even have to bring a pencil because I'm entitled for you to give me what. Am I making sense?
You
We
Making
are.
a lot of sense.
we have messed up our children, so now they don't have any creativity. I don't have this, so how can I get it? How can I use my mind? Now they can use their mind to be a drug dealer, an entrepreneur. They'll use their creativity for bad stuff. But what about how to make a good living, honest living? Uh, uh, have we given them those kind of tools?
I
All
think
right.
if we take the time to instill values into our children, it means a lot. You may not be able to instill every value that they need, but my God, they ought to have some. They ought to have some value that they can articulate or show in their life. You know, not just hand me this, give me this. They don't have any respect. They don't have any type of. They walk in rooms that don't even say good morning. You
Mm-mm.
know, it's still some values in your kids that you know how to act socially, how to conduct themselves, because it goes a long way with people who are in charge when they see values in a child. Trust me,
Mm-hmm.
it goes a long way
Absolutely.
with that child, and with that educator who's working with that child.
Absolutely, absolutely. Not just book knowledge, but some moral values,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
some manners. Uh, um,
Manners.
that starts at home.
That
We got
starts at
to
home.
absolutely.
That is one thing I don't have an issue. I don't got no issue in that. And they will tell
Mm,
you, anybody who see my children, your children are so respectful. Your children are very well mannered. They better be.
absolutely,
They better be. Like that is no there's no negotiating. There's no negotiating that, because you may not be able to do X, Y, and Z, but you earn a lot of respect when you respect others. And so you better
Exactly.
make sure it's a yes ma'am, a no ma'am, a no. I don't care what they saying today. Say hon to me if you want to. If you can hon, you can hear, and you about to hear something if you keep on talking to me like that. And
mm,
that's with their teachers, that's with anybody that they approach, even when like the two older ones, they've worked. My 17-year-old got his first job. Them first few days was rough for him because that lady was coming down on him hard, and he come home upset. But she talking to me like I said, she not talking to you like she crazy. If she gave you a directive and you didn't do the directive, and then she didn't gave you that same directive 3 times and you still didn't do it correctly, then you gonna get chewed out because you didn't do it correctly. How many times she got to tell you to do something? So you got to bring yourself back down, reevaluate. Me and daddy trying to coach him along. I said, because if you say the wrong thing, you ain't gonna have no job. You ain't gonna have no job. I said, you gotta be able to take instruction. You gotta
Mm-hmm.
be able to listen, and
absolutely,
you can't become combative when somebody's telling you something because they're trying to get you to do the job right.
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, absolutely. And those things have to be started at a young age,
Hmm.
so that because that's the real world. When you get out here on your own and you got a mortgage to pay and you got a car payment and you got whatever, you can't be combative. You got to have you got to know how to follow directions,
Hmm.
have some manners, and have some respect to get a paycheck.
Hmm.
Because I ain't giving you my money and you can't respect the job.
And we continuously, and one thing that we repeat to them is that at the end of the day, they don't have to keep you on. And then what you gonna do? Because you can't stay here forever. You eventually got to go. And in order for you to survive, you got to be able to contain your emotions. And everything people say to you, that you are not going to like it, you are not going to agree, and you don't have to respond to everything. And that's hard for the generation that we have right now,
Mm-hmm.
especially them that's entering the workforce. It's hard for them because they have to have a comeback. They have to be heard. They have to be able to say stuff.
They have to be right.
They have to be they have to be right. I have had some knockout drag outs with the old with the a middle child because he has to be right.
But it's our responsibility to
Hmm.
teach them,
Hmm.
because this is what's being poured into them. That's what they see on TV. That's what they hear in the rap
Hmm.
songs. That's what's being fed to them.
Hmm.
But
Uh,
it's our voice that got to keep stay consistent and to teach them.
And it's the
Um,
discipline. We have to have some type of, as you say, consistency and discipline. So if you can't talk to me I'm your mama, and you are going to disrespect me, guess
mm-hmm.
what? Everything that you have, I will take away, and you won't have it. Because until you learn how to respect me, you
mhm,
don't get the benefits of what we giving you. Period.
Right.
So when you learn that, then you can have X, Y, and Z. And you see, people don't realize how quickly they adjust. And you can't just take it away for a day. You can't take it away for 2 days. Like, you gotta take it away and let it stay away.
Mm-hmm.
Because eventually, once they get out for that constant of hearing and looking and watching and seeing other people talk, they got time to think, and they start coming back down to who they really are versus what they're feeding their systems.
absolutely. Good evening, Dr. Hood. Good to see you on this evening. She's also in the school system. We are talking about back to school on this um, session of the Truth Uncensored. Okay, so we've talked about parental responsibility and how to get our students prepared. Um, but now let's turn the corner a little bit. Uh, um, my child is depressed. Um, he's being bullied or she's being bullied and they are alone. How are we to handle that situation as our children go back to school? How are we to encourage them? How are we to get their mind frame back on education uh, um, while when they are feeling this within their young minds? Um, um, Getting them counseling when counseling is needful. It's all right to have a therapist. It's all right to have some counseling when it is appropriate. All right, so y'all come on, get me out of
Okay.
this again.
You first of all, you got to know who your child is.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know them. You have to know their mannerisms. You have to know what when they shift. You have to know that. And that's one thing I can say about myself is I know each one of my children individually. I know when something's wrong. I can tell by body language. I can tell by response. I can tell by volume of voice, like something is going on. And the one thing that I'm one of those persistent mamas, what's going on? What's wrong with you? I'm asking those questions. And a lot of times they'll be like, nothing. Oh, so you gonna lie? Don't lie to me, because I'm gonna keep asking until you tell me. So let's just go ahead. Let's walk through. Let's talk through. And I've had a child who um, didn't want to be here no more. That I had to have committed, and that's because her ninth grade year was horrible. I mean, she was picked on. She was very beautiful, and so everybody and their mama had every lie to tell about her that wasn't true, and so that was a struggle. But after that, it did wake me up even more to be even more vigilant. Don't let them be silent. If your child starts to draw inward and they not talking, you better start talking. You better start trying to figure out something. And if they won't talk to you, you better get them the assistance they need, because ain't nothing wrong with therapy. There's nothing
Mhm.
wrong with it whatsoever. So knowing your child and actually talking to them, communicating with them to see not just, hey, how was your day? What happened at school? What was
Mhm.
this? What was that? Make it where they are open enough to talk to you if something goes wrong.
Absolutely. Bishop?
You have to put that time in. I think it is so admirable when you have parents that just simply show up to school, no appointment, no nothing planned. They just show up because they're coming to see when if you suspect your child is being bullied or has some sort of a social issue among the classes that they're a part of, simply show up. I can guarantee you showing up a couple of times lets the teacher know this parent means business, and it creates an unspoken paper trail because they don't want you to have to call Channel 5 or Channel 7 or 21 or any of that concerning your child. If you're showing up, if you're showing an interest, if you are participating in that child's educational process, if you are there supporting that child in and out of school, it will make a difference. Now, whatever it is that you don't know, it will be revealed because either that child's behavior is going to start changing or either the people around that child, they're going to start changing, being really attentive and be really nice, whereas before they weren't saying anything. But if you know your child has that type of an issue, show up, start coming to school, start making it your business to find out every day what's going on, because after a while that teacher, maybe that child has a homeroom teacher, that homeroom teacher is going to be sick of seeing you showing up all the time because that's another report they have to write. That's another report they got to give. That's another incident they have to report, and that's going to help your child. But the parent has got to show the initial interest in finding out what's going on with that child. They have to. That's the only way because um, like Sherrie said, that's how you ask a child. The child says nothing. I've done that. I've asked kids, "What's wrong with you?" And they say nothing, and they sit there staring off into the space. I'm like, "Nope, come on, go with me. We're gonna go sit in the office for a minute." you know, I can't have you looking off into space because I don't know what you're getting ready to do. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want you to do something that you're gonna regret later. So let's talk about it now. Just show some interest. I hope
No.
somebody hears what we're saying. Just show some interest in your child.
And not just parents. If we see any child
Hmm.
that's struggling, being a listening ear uh, um, to children, regardless of the age, listen, be attentive.
Hmm.
Our children is growing up in an age where we adults can't handle. We adults are struggling mentally. I don't care if you got pastor, PhD, or whatever it is. This is a hard time in the world. So just to think what our children is experiencing,
Hmm.
uh, um, we just have to pay attention to everybody, especially our children, because they can't handle all of this.
Mm-mm.
Um, we talk about deaths. Our children, look how it can affect children. It's affecting us
Hmm.
when we have back to back to back deaths that we know about. It affects children as well. And then they got to go to school and hear a whole lot of crazy talk and bullying and social media posts and just so much. Uh, it's enough to take our children out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, 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 we get tutors for our children. It is no crime to get counselors for our children as well.
Yeah, I can say this. I wanted to say something to uh, what Bishop Cox said.
Mhm.
So, as far as like going to the schools now in Winston-Salem, Forsyth County schools, it is a lot harder to just show up at the school anymore. They don't. allow that. Like back in the day, my parent can walk up in the school and be like, "Hey, I want to sit with my child." That is not as there's not the open door policy is not like that no more. There's a lot of
It's a
steps you got to go
safety
through.
issue.
Yeah, it's a safety issue. There's a lot of steps you got to go through to be able to get in to have that access, and sometimes the teacher won't even allow you in the room just because it might become too disruptive. So you gotta go back on, making sure you're communicating via whatever method that teacher prefers, to make sure I'm here. Don't wait to the last minute. Make sure you call me if something if they ain't doing right. All you gotta do is text me in the little texting app, email me. However you gotta do it. Like I tell my children teachers, text me or email me. If you text me or email me, I promise you, by the next day, they'll be taken care of. By the next day, we'll have a different attitude. But it's harder for us to get into the schools. But one thing that Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools did this year is they actually added 12, I think 12 or more um, mental health providers that's going to be placed throughout their schools. Not just, they had some therapy type stuff going on, but they're actually 12 mental health providers or more that's going to be placed throughout our school district to kind of help and combat the depression, the mental health issues and stuff like that, so that we can kind of get some of this stuff that we got going on under control. Because I mean, it's just it is what it is. It's the life. It's the day that we live in.
Absolutely. It's the day that we live in. And unfortunately, a lot of our children don't have a Christian base. We don't take them to church to counteract some of this stuff that's happening in the world. A lot of us grew up in church, so we had a balance of VHS and BET and whatever, but we had another foundation in our ear too about Jesus' love and Jesus, how he cares for us. Now all they get is BET, VHS, and whatever else that's that they are feeding in their spirit now, and there is no counterbalance with church, with the love of God. So they don't have that. So now they just out on the limb, and the enemy is just sawing the limb off.
Right.
So we have to do more uh, uh, um, to be visible in their lives with the love of Jesus. All right. The last thing that I want to talk about, I believe, no, it's not last thing, but I do want to talk about this No Child Left Behind.
Hey, I need to turn my camera back on so Mark Anthony, whatever, go ahead and go that way. Sorry, y'all.
Okay. uh, we want her children. um, No Child Left Behind. How has that affected positively or negatively? How has that affected our children, our school system? Just passing our children along just so they can keep up with their peers, and they are not educationally sound. Um, um, how is that affecting?
The negative
Yeah.
impact, the negative impact is major. It is major. From a data standpoint of view, from numbers and paper, it looks wonderful. But for the real world, it's awful. It really is. It's awful because you are passing a child along, but they haven't learned anything. By the time they get to 12th grade, they can't actually read because you kept passing them along. They A way to combat and compensate that, they changed the grading scales. They made it where it was easier, and so, like a 93 back in the day was a low A. No, no, you can be in the 80s and it's like it's just the way I think they do it on a 10-point scale, but then they don't even allow you to like fail. They'll
Mhm.
round it up so that they can move you on. So it's not assisting them, it's not helping them. It really is, it's a hindrance. Only from data does it look good. From a data point of view, it looks wonderful. And to base children off of a lot of the testing, we already know testing is one of those things where some people test good and some people test terrible. My son, the middle one, he can go through the whole year and just do nothing. He tests good, tests to pass out. But then you got some kids that can't do that and they do good during a year. And then at the end of the year, you give them this test and then it just takes everything. You be like, you really you base this off of a test, but you seen what they did. I have one child that tests good and I have one child that don't test good. And
Yeah,
so
I didn't test good either. I don't
yeah,
test well.
so it's just one of those things where you're looking at it and you're like, yeah, for y'all on numbers it looks good. It may get you more funding, but in actuality, we are dealing with the effects of no child left behind now.
Bishop.
It's terrible. It's terrible. That's all I can say. It's terrible. I know a young boy. He was in the 5th grade. He wouldn't do his work. He just would show up when his class would come around. He would just show up with his class. He would sit there and play. He'd walk around with the class when they changed classes. That was it. And they're interviewing him and talking to him about going over to middle school. And I'm thinking, for what? He's done nothing here. So we're just going to move him on. We're doing him a disservice. So what is it that we can come up with to help this child? We know he has a behavior problem for whatever reason. We see him every day. He gets into, about 2 fights a month. But hey, when it's time to test, they test him. He may take the test, he may not, but they still move him on. He's going to middle school. He's supposed to be in 6th grade in 12 or 13 more days. He'll be in 6th grade. And you have done nothing in 5th grade. You can barely spell your name. I don't know. I don't have an answer for what we can do when it comes down to testing our kids. This No Child Left Behind. There are too many potholes in this theory. There are too many potholes. And I don't think it'll be addressed until it's the right child that's put in that situation, then somebody gets hurt or someone gets embarrassed. But something has to be done.
Well, I mean, now you got children that's actually suing school districts because they got to the 12th grade and they couldn't read. Like in other states, there are children that are actually now suing school districts because they kept passing them along. But again, you go back to the parent. How much will the parent advocate? My son was not ready to go to the 1st grade. So I held him back. I got so much pushback. And they was like, no, you just need to send him. No, don't send my child forward. Keep him in kindergarten one more year because he's not ready. He's not ready. So he's technically supposed to be in the 5th grade, but he's in the 4th grade because I knew as a mother that he wasn't ready. But they didn't want me to hold him back. They wanted me to let him go forward. And I said, no, you will not hold him back.
Yep. We need more parental, but then we have to be able to undergird with more um, um, things to help the children that are passed through. We know they have a deficiency in some areas, so we have to give them more support and more things so they can catch up to where they're supposed to be. We can't just say we'll pass them on and just leave them. And then they get passed on again and just leave. Well, now they're 2 grades behind because they never got the foundation that they needed to go for.
And we also have to be attentive, making sure we parents is paying attention to these emails that they send out. My lesson was learned this year.
We
And
got
these
to pay attention. Our
these
children are important. And again, we have to evaluate ourselves as adults. What are we going to prioritize?
Mm-hmm.
What's are we putting our children as a priority? You the one brought them here. You you're the one that said I would take care of them. I will provide them with shelter, with education, with whatever they need to grow and become a responsible adult. So where is the priority in this?
I,
All right.
the priority. Can I say something right quick? The
Mm-hmm.
priority is there, but there are so many other children who have extenuating circumstances,
Of
and
course.
I didn't realize there was so many. You know, there were little kids in the fourth, the third and fourth grade whose guardians were the grandparents. I'm like, well, where's his mama? Well, she's in prison. Where's the daddy? Well, he's on the street.
Absolutely.
You know, and
Absolutely.
the kids are going through these things. So you have someone from 2 or 3, sometimes 4 generations back, trying to raise little bitty kids, and they don't have a clue. So now, what do we
Absolutely.
do with that child? How do
Become the
we
village.
right? And
You
if we want
become
to
you
become a
become the village. Whatever impact, whatever seed you can sow at that time, that's the seeds that you sow. You become the village.
Absolutely. Um, and that leads us to the last thing that I want to talk about: community support and involvement. Um, how does the community step in for little Johnny, for little Susie, who doesn't have parental guidance, who doesn't have uh, uh, um, a grandparent who can relate? um, where does the community come in to volunteer, to provide tutorialship, um, to go in and help monitor the halls? Where does the community support come in on these things? Why y'all quiet?
It has to be a thing. Yeah, I was waiting for you to finish. Um, it has to be a thing where people just say, I'm gonna take whatever hit come towards me. Because the first thing somebody will say is, well, these people don't want nobody saying nothing to their child. That's true.
Mhm.
That's true. But I'll give you an example. I got a little boy that live in my complex. This little boy be outside, no clothes on, diapers, and barefooted, running around. He's got to be 4, maybe about to turn 5 years old. No parent in sight. His older sister and brother, they're not old enough to be taking care of him, but I don't know what's going on in their household, and he'll be running around. We have all taken him back home. I have been in the middle of the street with my hands on my hip, screaming at kids, come get your brother and take him back home. I done went up to his mom. His mom had attitude. I don't care. It's better you have me come and be a part of your village than somebody call CPS on you because you're not looking after your child.
Mhm.
So you just got to take the risk. You got to take the risk and say, "Hey, I'm gonna be a part of that community," and just ask God to give you clarity on how to respond to those situations. So there's not a bunch of confusion, and you're not gonna always find people that's willing to take that help. But you got to be the person to take the initiative and take the action. I'm not one of those people that stand around and just watch children do whatever. I can't do that because that little boy can get snatched up by anybody.
Absolutely.
So if his mama not around, I'm a mama before anything. If I hear him hollering outside, and when I tune in and I realize that that's not a holler like somebody just crying, like that's a cry for help, I'm
Mhm.
going. Period. I deal with the rest of it later.
Um, a lot of us um, are too timid in trying to help. We see and we want to be ostracized and put our head in the sand. And we can't we can't do our children. This is our next generation. And we are leaving them to fend for themselves when we have pedophiles out here. How
Mhm.
many children do we see missing? When I look at open up Facebook, it's too many children missing. They're going. Too many people are being taken, sex trafficking, organs being taken from them. This can happen in your neighborhood. We are the village to be we should be the village police. Can I put it like that?
Mhm.
Mhm.
The, it
Yeah.
takes somebody to be the village police, and you may not, people might not like it, but somebody has to look over.
You
Uh,
can't be
um,
a complainer and not be a solution.
Somebody
Absolutely.
has got to do something in spite of doing it, knowing that the other person is going to be furious with you. That's just how it's going to be. Then they're not going to thank you. They're not going
Mm-mm.
to pat you on the back, because if they're doing all of that and you're having to do it, something's wrong.
Hmm.
Because it should be something that should come natural to the guardian or to the parent, but it doesn't always work that way. Like you said, um, and then in this day and time, it just depends on who you are and who
Mhm.
that child is. We love all children, but sometimes you might correct a child, or go get a child, and that parent will might turn you over to the police, or he did this to my child. Especially, it just depends on who you are, and you really do have to be prayerful as to who you help. I personally try to make sure that the little boys at the school, I'm like, hey, come over here and sit down. Sit your nappy head down. You don't need to be here hollering. You say stuff like that, and they turn around later on and they start respecting you. They'll come in to my shh, shh. I can't talk louder here. I said, that's right. And quit shh in here. Go somewhere and sit down. But I gained their respect. I don't have problems out of them. Now, some of them, oh, so I don't know what to say. I don't know if it's witchcraft or what. But some of them, it takes a lot. It takes a lot to work
Hmm.
with some kids, and then some kids it doesn't take that much. But whoever you can get
Mhm.
through to them, at least they won't be lost.
Absolutely.
Just sow the seed. I had
Absolutely.
plenty of proxies in my life that represented my dad, that represented my grandma, that represented my mom. Plenty of proxies, and I thank each and every one of them because I'm grateful for them. But
Mm-hmm.
I did have a village. They may not have been buying me clothes and stuff like that, but I had a village.
And a village, and I
So
that's
you
what's
got to
missing.
stop expecting your village also to be your family,
Mm-hmm.
because that's not always the case. My village for my children are not actually my blood family. A lot because a lot of them are gone already, but they're not my blood family.
Absolutely. I think we all have had people to take interest in us that wasn't family. I've had teachers to take interest in me. I've had church members to take interest in me that wasn't family.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we got to get back to that uh, uh, um, that mindset that we are our brother's keeper.
Yeah.
We're not God, but who we can reach, let's try to reach. Who
Mhm.
we can help, let's try to help. We ought to be, as saints of God, safe places for our children, where they can come, they can talk, they can release,
Mm-hmm.
they can feel safe with us. We ought to be that. As they go back to school, they're going to need more support. They're
Mhm.
going to
Mm-hmm.
need people to pray with them, pray for them, help them, get them resources. Again, we're not God, but we can help them with, get them to resources that can help them, that can take them to the next level. Think you all have any kind of closing remarks. That's what I'm trying to tell get to. Closing remarks. We are way past time, but I think we had a great conversation.
Let's get some villages together.
Yeah.
Let's get
And not
some
all the
villages.
kids are bad. They just need
Mm-mm.
us.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, absolutely. I tell people, children just want to know somebody care.
That's it.
If we show them that somebody care, they'll come on in. They will do resources really do anything? Yes, they do. We can get them counseling. We can get them to the resources that can help, tutoring, whatever we can to help them. We can, it can help. We can't help every child, but we can provide some things for some who we can
Mm-hmm.
get.
Yeah.
Uh, um, and that's what we're going to do, is try to help those that we can do get to. This has been a great conversation on the night, and I hope that we got the truth out here. Uh, that we are the village. We can't leave it to somebody else. As our children go back to school, go back to different situations, uh, uh, let's be a help to our children wherever they are in their educational process.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, did everybody give a remark? I'm sorry, because I saw some
We
remarks
did.
in the chat.
We
We
did.
did. We did.
Okay. Thank you for joining the Truth Uncensored on today. We'll look forward to seeing you September, the second Wednesday in September, for the Truth Uncensored podcast. And we hope Dr. Shawn McKinney will be back with us on that time. Thank you again for joining us, and know that we're going to tell you the truth in love. God
Amen.
bless each and every one of you. We'll see you next month.